What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of At Home with Mark. Today is season 6, a nice even episode 20, and we have Dani from Eggy, and I'm super pumped to talk to you, man. Thanks so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me here, Mark.
Yeah, dude. I have so many questions I want to talk to you about. We were talking a little bit beforehand, and I saw you guys open for Mo on New Year's. And actually, dude, that was my first live show like in a venue since COVID. So that was my first like show back in a room with people and everything. And it was just like, so how much, how many times do you have that experience where you're just like, don't see music for 2 years? And then it's just like this amazing experience.
I'd like to say that's going to be the last time
Yeah.
that ever happens.
I hope, because it was so healing, dude. I've been to so many shows since then. I told myself after that night, I'm like, dude, I'm going to go see as much live music as I can this year because it's just such a healing water that rushes over me. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
so much. And that was such a special show. It was your first show back, Chuck's first show back with Mo. I mean, an
Yeah.
incredibly special night. Can't believe that we got to just be even just a small part of that celebration.
Yeah.
Getting to be a fly on the wall and in his return was really special. And that's a band of brothers, and I feel we feel a kinship to Mo in that way. We're brothers. We're best friends in our band, and so getting to see that return is just like the show could happen with or without us. It felt like, but
Right.
to be included in it was a true honor.
Yeah, man. And Chuck, dude, I've idolized that dude since I was 18, 17, maybe. And I'll be 44 tomorrow. So I mean, I've been listening to that dude and
Happy
studying.
birthday!
Thanks, man. And studying him for as long as I could, say I was serious about the instrument.
Mhm.
Um, well, let me ask you. I always ask everybody this question because I think it's really interesting. It's interesting to me. But what's like your earliest musical memory?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that, and I'm glad I know that this is something that is asked of everyone. It's the only one I've given much thought to that I might get asked here. And I was thinking about it, and so I started playing piano when I was 6, and I also quit piano when I was 6.
Okay.
Um, I have very, like, little memory of it. I just kinda, like, remember what it felt like to be in the room. I was not necessarily about it. I was kinda like the kid that, tried a bunch of different things. Ultimately, I became, like, a more of a sports kinda guy,
Hmm.
and so music was not really a part of my life until I was about 12 or 13, in middle school, and so my really the memory I have most of connecting with music, would have been I was in Hebrew school, and I was, sitting with my friend Jake, who I still play music with today. He plays guitar in Eggy, and, he was, like, talking about bands like Led Zeppelin and stuff, and I was like, I don't know any of this, like, I don't really listen to music." He's like, "You don't listen to music?" Like, so he was, like, the first person that introduced me to really anything outside of just, like, I knew what music was and all that stuff, but it played 0 role in my life really up until then. And I remember I had, like, a flip phone that you could put, like, a few songs on. So he, like, loaded up my phone with, "Break On Through" by The Doors and "Aqualung" and "Locomotive Breath" by Jethro Tull, and, pretty sure "Light My Fire," "Estimated Profit" was on there, and,
Mm.
like, I listened, like, the same 5 songs for, like, a year, and
Okay.
then, um and now, yeah, that's how I that was my first, like, inkling into music, and music that would have been fun. My brothers, as I get into middle school and earlier into high school, like my older brother by 2 years, was like getting into Pink Floyd, and I became obsessed with music before I even picked up an instrument. I like would load up whatever MP3 player I had. One Pink Floyd was like my first band that I ever like went headstrong into. It was around the time School of Rock came out, and I remember watching that and just being super inspired. And just loving rock.
Yeah.
And I I would hang out with Jake all the time before I ever played, and he was playing guitar. And like I really what I remember the most, he would just play like at me. Like we'd be hanging out and he's just like playing guitar. Like we'd just be hanging out on the couch and he's just playing guitars. Like finally I was like, I should probably pick up an instrument. We hang out all the time. I might as well join you in this. And so he played guitar, so I figured I'd play something else. So I picked up keyboard. It and it helped that uh I had a baby grand at my house growing up that
Nice.
that sat idly for most of my life. And I I actually like would go onto YouTube and just like start trying to like learn some stuff. Um, First song I ever learned was "Don't Stop Believin'."
Oh, nice.
You know, probably the most classic, iconic piano part in rock. You know, one of them anyway.
Yeah, man.
And it was a good little trick when you're in high school to be able to play "Don't Stop Believin'."
Yeah, totally.
Um, and that was like, yeah, that's really like the first things I remember was just like I went my whole life without it, and then I met Jake, and my life was like changed forever.
Man, that's so crazy too. Like, can you imagine like if you'd never met him, like what would happen? Like what would have happened? Who knows?
Who knows? I got to
Yeah.
thank my parents for holding me back a year in the first grade,
There you
so
go.
that I would be in his year. Otherwise, who knows? I'd be like a failed baseball player or something. Well, I still was a failed baseball player.
So you didn't really like start playing keys like with intention and with intent like until high school.
Yeah,
And were
yeah.
you like was it early high school or was it like mid or late?
My first band with Jake would have been our sophomore year, so I was probably picking it up freshman year. Toying around with just playing some stuff, the piano. Jake always had this organ at his house, like a Lowry organ. But the only intention was just like to have fun, and I didn't think about like lessons. I didn't consider myself a musician really. It was just something that was really fun, and um, right off the bat, like starting a band pretty much as soon as I started playing an instrument. I've basically been playing in bands since day one. There was
Right.
a that's very etched into my ethos is like play music, you're in a band. Like
Right. Now, let me ask you this.
yeah,
So, keyboard players and good keyboard players are hard to come by. Were you playing with a bunch of people or were you just always with Jake and that's what you guys had going on?
pretty much only with Jake. Um, Ended up in high school playing around with some other people. Um, never had another band with anyone else in high school, but
Mhm.
we had like a really awesome like high school talent show. They like really went all out with the production. They called it Pops, and everybody would put these bands together to play certain songs. And remember, I got like a trio together to play a Muse song.
Nice,
Um,
dude.
yeah, but really, no, not too much. I didn't start playing with a lot of other people until after Eggy was established, and I started to meet people through that. Um, and
Okay.
then got to play around with some other folks, like playing the local Grateful Dead band Shakedown out here, and get called for gigs here and there. That's when it's like, oh, there's Donnie. Let's hit this guy up.
Yeah, man.
But
Did you was it always Eggy or was there a different band name in the very beginning?
so the first band that we had was called Francis Drive. This is
Okay.
the band before the band, named after where Jake's parents lived. Um, that was on that street. And we wrote like 3 songs. I don't remember if we ever covered anything. I want to say 5 songs. We had 5 songs. Only
Okay.
ever recorded one. Um, I think I have like a CD of it somewhere in my room, maybe the only known copy. Um, and it was a blast.
That's awesome. Did you start singing in the beginning too, or did that come a little bit later?
I started singing in the beginning. Oh, now I'm remembering we used to cover Comfortably Numb.
There you go, brother.
And I would sing the Richard Wright part and Jake sang the Gilmore part.
Heck yeah.
And um I guess I was singing the Roger Waters part come to think of it. He sings the
Oh,
verse.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He does sing the verses, yeah.
Um, and but by no means thought of myself as a singer. It was just like, yeah, we'll just sing. It was very like, hey, I just learned this chord. Let's use it in the song.
Yeah, dude, I know that vibe when you're early on, when you're like, "Oh, I just stumbled upon something, we have to
Yeah.
use this." Yeah,
I remember when I
totally.
learned like what arpeggiating something was. It was like,
Yeah.
and then it was like, let's write it. Let's write something with this. Totally.
Yeah. Did you take lessons too? Like, were you, like, at the point where you're like, "I think I wanna, like, actually work really hard at this, so, like, maybe I should talk to someone who can give me a little bit of a runway to run with," or were you just kind of always self-taught?
Not until after high school. So in high school, it was all just like going on YouTube, and shout out to this guy, Sean Cheek on YouTube, who had, I think he probably called it easy piano lessons or
Right?
something. Like he was like, here's how you play Don't Stop Believing, here's how you play Imagine, like, and like all just like it was like a chart. It was like, here is E, it's gonna be B and
Yeah.
G or whatever. And I took music theory in high school, but still no real lessons. I After high school, I ended up in Israel for a year. My dad is from there. I have a background there, so I did like a gap year program, volunteer, take classes, figure out what you want to do. Uh, the only thing I really liked doing was music, and so I ended up going to school, Southern Connecticut State University, New Haven, Connecticut, with Jake, with the premise of let's just keep playing in this band together, and we'll go to school, and really just wanted to keep playing in band. So I took a bunch of music classes. You didn't need to audition to get in to the music program there. You could just sign up for the classes. I went in undeclared major and took like music theory and took uh what would the other ones have been? I don't,
Like
10
ear
years, 10
training
ear
and
training and all the, yeah, learning how to do like dictation and all this stuff.
yeah.
And everything was totally new and fresh to me. And so I ended up declaring music as my major there. And I just, that was when I really was like gonna dive in kind of head first into it. I was really getting a lot of, the learning curve was very steep, and it was great because I was constantly, for the first time in my life, really surrounded with music all the time.
Yeah, man.
Um, but even still, like I remember having a bit of like this identity crisis because um, I never I never thought of myself as a musician. I didn't come from a musical family. I didn't have like, we had the piano because it was passed down from my grandfather kind of at the time when like you had a piano in your house. And um, I remember coming back from a show. We went to see Page with the Meters
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
in New York City, and it was absolutely amazing, and it totally blew my mind. I definitely was in a place to allow my mind to get pretty blown, where the next day I'm just like, I was I still wasn't over it the next day, and
Mhm.
it was such a great show, and it was so, I've never seen a show like that, where I was like completely like, I'd never danced so hard in my life. I'd never been like, I was totally moved. And I remember Jake was dropping me off at home in the morning, and I was just like, it's like, is this like, I don't know if this is for me. Like I still didn't know
Mm.
because I'd only been really doing it for like a couple of years, and I was in my mind like playing with people that have been doing it their whole life. They like were really identified as musicians, and I took me a little longer to like come to grips with like, this is your purpose here. Like you have a voice, you write songs, this is your calling, you just have to answer to it.
Yeah,
um
man.
and it, I was doing it, but I had to kind of accept my, who I was becoming, or maybe who I'd always been.
Yeah. Man, it's interesting to hear you say that because I mean, there's so many different pathways that I've heard on this show, and it's almost like yours is so unique because you're like you're out there, you're doing it, you're so inspired, you're so deep in the weeds in it, but then you're still questioning like, is this what I wanna do? Like, well, yeah, dummy, like, it is what you wanna do, like, just do it, like, just step up to the plate. Let's do the
Yeah.
baseball analogy,
I
but, like,
I
you
compare
know
everything to baseball all the time.
Yeah. I love baseball too, man.
Yeah.
But it's
What's
interesting to
your
hear you
team? You got a
say
team?
well, the Orioles, because
Orioles. You're having a good year.
'cause I'm from Baltimore, yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
you got a lot
finally,
to be
dude, oh my
excited about.
god. Oh,
You've been waiting. You've been waiting.
whew. I mean, it's been rough. I mean, when I grew up, man, like, my older brother was, like, super into the Red Sox and the Celtics, so I
Uh-huh.
therefore was as well,
Right.
and when I went to Berkeley, so when I went to
Oh,
Boston,
cool.
going there was like the motherland because I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Oh my god, we're gonna go see the Celtics, we're gonna go to Fenway, like, it's gonna be amazing." Like, my wife was like, "Oh my god, here we go." Um, but it was so cool. Have you ever been to Fenway Park?
I have been. I've been one time.
Oh, it's so cool, man. So old
I'd
school.
love to
It's
go
just
back.
oh. Did you ever do the tour to go up to the monster and stuff?
I did not.
You should.
I was maybe, like, 12 or something. My friend's dad took us out up there.
Oh, yeah, you gotta go. They take you up to, like, the Budweiser deck, and then they take you up to the Green Monster. It's just super cool.
I only remember that Manny Ramirez hit a home run. I
Uh,
mean, that I'm sure he
yeah.
did that a lot back then.
Dude, you know what's crazy too? When I first moved there, um, I'd go for runs, and I lived in the
Yeah.
neighborhood that was around Fenway. So I was, where was I? I was just running around the park, and there was all these ESPN trucks and like cameras and
Mhm.
stuff. And it was just me. I was just like running by, and I'm like, what is going on down this alleyway? And it's when he was leaving Boston.
Oh, shoot.
And all those, like, reporters and stuff were there, and he was out there, and he pulled out his car. I was like, "Yo, dude!" Look, it was, like, just me and a bunch of ESPN people and reporters. But I'll never forget that because 'cause I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's crazy to live here." It's like this is like
Yeah.
my childhood dream is to have that happen, you know what I mean? But anyway, back to the music.
Yeah. But so, yeah, so, like, that was my whole, like, upbringing was, like, I was a sports kinda guy. I played baseball, I played tennis, I played hockey, I played soccer, like, and, so it was like kind of like a shock to my parents when, like, I decided this is what I wanted to turn to do.
Mhm.
I always had their support from it, and I mean, especially have their support right now. They're, like, the most proud parents they could be. They, like, come travel, like, I can't keep them away from our shows if I tried. They're like,
That's awesome.
they like I mean, they even came to see us at summer camp. I was like
Oh,
I was like, "You're gonna see some interesting stuff here." Like, they're like, "We're up for it," like, because 'cause
dude,
they're
how was that? That had to be bittersweet. That was the last one, right?
it's from what I understand, the last one in that capacity. I have to imagine that the folks over there that have been putting on amazing shows for over 20 years have got some tricks up their sleeve.
Mhm.
So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to what they got to do next. But it's bittersweet for me. I know it's bittersweet for Alex. Alex, the drummer of Eggy, he grew up in Chicago, so for him, summer camp was, as he put it, school would end like that weekend, and we would skip out early and go to summer camp, and
Mm,
it's like where he made all his memories and had his kind of musical upbringing. Um,
yeah.
and so it was definitely bittersweet, but it was such an amazing time. It's really inspiring to get to see so many incredible acts in one weekend, and there was a just a really delightful energy from everybody. Um, Good hangs, great performances,
Yeah.
everything you
Well,
want.
let's kinda talk a little bit about the band, too, like the members, because when I saw you
Mhm.
guys,
Yeah.
what I love and everybody should follow them on Instagram, there's a ton of great content that you guys put up all the time, but there was first of all, there was one video of Jake and Mike, like, just playing off of each other. I don't know
Mhm.
if you remember what I'm talking about, but there was a video that was posted. It was a while ago. It was, like, probably a month ago or so, and they were, like, kind of just like right there with each other, and I can tell you guys are all really close. Like there's a palpable like energy that you guys kind of exude when you play, and I can
Mhm.
tell how well and how well you know each other because how well you listen to each other. Um, and I remember just being like, that is what a band is supposed to be like. Like you're supposed to have those moments where it's telepathy and where it's like everything just kind of works out. And I know it doesn't every night. That's the dangerous part about music, and that's what's awesome about what you guys do. But I remember seeing that, and then I remember just like seeing you guys covering that Punch Brothers tune and being like, "Oh my
Mhm.
god!" Like you guys pick great covers, like really,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, and you pick really adventurous covers. And speaking of Alex, dude, that guy's he's a monster. I can remember being at the New Year's show and just being because I'm a guitarist and I'm a pianist second, and I played
Mhm.
some drums too, but like I was just entranced by Alex. I'm like, that dude's pocket is so good. He plays for the song so well. I mean, you all do, but he played for the song so well, and his voice is freaking great. I was just like, who is this guy? So he's from Chicago,
Yep.
and you and Jake grew up together.
Yep.
What's Mike's deal?
Mike is, another high school homie from way back. So Jake and I grew up in neighboring towns. Our middle school was a joint kind of middle school between the towns. When we go to high school, they add the next town, which was Mike's town. And
Nice.
so we were all there together. Actually, Mike and I were in the same JCC camp bunk when we were 7. Uh,
Nice.
uh, it's funny, we retained the same best friend through it, but we didn't end up friends. Like we made the same best friend. Shout out to
So
Pete Kosser for being both our being both our friends, but Mike and I just didn't end up uh, being friends until high school. Um, as we got together like through music and um, also our Jewish background together found us in some similar places together. But yes, we went to high school together. Then Mike went off to Berkeley from high school. He was the year above Jake and I. Uh, he started his own band, and there was always this dream in the back of all our minds that we would all end up together in a band, as Jake and I were still playing together. And then when things for Mike's project were unfolding the way they did, and he ended up back in Connecticut, it played perfectly into where our trajectory was in our time, where we were very much in need of a bass player.
Mhm.
And so the timing worked out perfectly. Mike joined the band, and we met Alex through a battle of the bands.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Oh, interesting.
we were playing the Electric Haze in Worcester, and he had his band of Berkeley boys, and we had our ragtag bunch of ourselves.
Okay, so
And
Alex went to Berkeley too?
Alex went to Berkeley too.
When were they
He's
there?
So Mike would have been like finishing in like 15 or 16.
Okay.
Alex finished in 2018 or 19, I want to say. They never went together. Alex is a little bit younger than us, so I think they're 4 years apart.
Okay.
And so they just missed each other, but they ended up with some mutual friends in the in between years. And so when we played against his band, I hate saying against because I don't know, battle of bands, music shouldn't be that way, but we
Right.
played against his band. We knew one of the members in his band. um I think he was even living in Mike's old apartment or like old house. There was connection there already. And so we played, and there was this mutual admiration for each other's projects, right off the bat. And we ultimately won this battle of the bands to earn a very coveted spot at a now non-existent festival where we probably didn't get paid. um and But Alex came out to the festival, was like volunteering was hanging out with us. He was like one of 8 people that came out to see our set at that festival, singing words to our songs. So we're already friends, which was really convenient when we needed to find a new drummer. Later that same year, he was the first guy we called. We had a jam. It was immediate connection. I wish someone recorded that first jam that we
Mm.
had, because it was that feeling of like when you're looking around the room, you're like, holy fuck, like
Yeah. Yeah.
we got to do this. Like, this is it. We finally figured it out.
It's the missing piece, man.
The missing
Yeah.
piece.
Yeah.
And we knew we were looking for a drummer, but we also knew we were looking for a brother, and absolutely found that in Alex.
Mhm.
And
I love that too because you, all the bands that are successful that like stick together and stay together and work well together, you grow up together. It's like your pals. It's like that's the easiest way to make something happen, I feel like, because you're in it together. You're in it to win
yeah,
it. And you guys have that beautiful story of that all clicking and coming together. So that's a great story, man. I love that. It makes me like the band even more now, man. That's so awesome. Um, well, tell me, so obviously, as a keys player, you're
right.
getting on there when you guys start getting out and playing on the road and like getting in a van, when you
Mhm.
get to the point where you can kind of go outside of your town and people come. Um, what was your rig? Your first rig that you were playing on?
The first rig, well, the first, you wanted like the first keyboard I ever played on stage with?
Hell yeah, dude. Like, let's
Um,
see.
it would have been I think I don't have it exactly, but hang on a second.
I hope it's a keytar.
Just like one of these like kind of Casio keyboards,
Oh yeah,
something like
dude.
this or something. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. The built-in speakers, everything.
Yeah, man.
I don't know
Yeah.
if that might not be the first one. First one's probably sitting in a closet at my parents' house or something. But I endorsed myself with Casio keyboards for a while.
Yeah.
They
That's
were
awesome.
they were great. They're still great. Um, the first keyboard I got that was like my first professional piece was a Nord Electro 3,
Yeah.
and I've had that since for 10 years now, like 2013, and it's been with me and every gig, every step of the way.
Nice.
So it was just that for a while, and then I was able to add. I got a Yamaha S90, like
Mhm.
weighted piano, and the thing weighed so much for what it was. Weighed like 60, 70 pounds.
Yeah. I had an S80. I remember that
So
the name.
you know.
Oh, that was terrible. Dude, I have this thing now. I just got this. That is a Yamaha YC 73.
Ooh.
It is dope, dude. Like, I played so many keyboards before I bought that. The piano sound, Yamaha kinda always kills it with the pianos.
I still play Yamaha pianos.
Yeah,
If you're
and it
listening, Yamaha.
yeah. But the whirly on there,
Mhm.
the, like, Rhodes on there, the clav stuff, there's drawbars on it, the organs on there, killer. There's like, it's come so far,
Oh
like,
yeah.
all the technology, like, because how many boards are you rocking now?
Right
Like,
now, I am bringing 5 around.
okay.
Um, I have Nord Electro 3 still. It sits on top of a Hammond A100, which breaks the band's back, but we love how it sounds. Uh, got that last year with it's a chopped A100 with a Leslie
Cool.
145. I have a Yamaha, the MODX8. I got that a few years ago to replace the S90 for all my piano-y needs.
Nice.
And lately I've been digging into more of it has like some really amazing functions for like how you can layer and split and shift things around to kind of create these like Frankenstein patches to be able to play certain songs.
Yeah, man.
Uh,
That's cool.
as we've been like rehearsing some of the new music that we've recorded for our we just finished a recording session a few weeks, I guess a few months ago at this point. Time has been a tricky thing to keep track of lately, but
Yeah.
uh, been trying to figure out how to take what we did in the studio and translate it live, and I'm trying to come up with these different layers and patches and different things. So the Yamaha has been a great tool for that. Um, and sitting on top of that, I have the Moog Model D reissue.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I used to have a little fatty that I regrettably sold when it was broken, and so
Mm,
I redeemed my past mistake by having something that I could never part with.
right. That's dope, man.
It's great. And then the fifth board is Virus TI. It's like that white
Oh,
small
yeah.
synthesizer that is it's as much mine as it's the band's. It was, excuse me, it used to belong to our band's namesake. Um, our band is named after a now departed friend of ours, Edward Eggy Torrance, who that was his board. He used to make ton of music on it, would
Mm,
spend just like hours and hours and hours in his room, just like spent just even to come up with one sound on that
mm,
thing until he had it just right. Um, I told you we've been playing with in bands with Jake since we were in high school. The first version of Eggy was created our senior year of high school, and we were trying to name the band at a lunch table one day, and someone had the idea we should name it after our buddy Eddie, um, Eggy. We were, let's call it Eggy, and he was like, "No, not happening." And so we loved that he didn't love it, and so
right.
to kind of split it, like solidified the fate of that right away. So to meet in the middle, we were like, all right, we'll call it Eggy and the Delegates. You're Eggy. He wasn't in the band. It was just like our guru, like
Mhm.
you're Eggy. We're your delegates. We're out there, uh, you know, representing you. And it turned out to be kind of the best thing we could have ever done. We dropped the and the delegates thing pretty quickly for our, branding and marketing and th- thinking about what it would look like on a festival lineup. But
Right.
keeping his name alive and active in this world is one of my greatest honors. I know it's an incredible honor and privilege that everyone in the band feels that we can continue to honor the legacy of Eddie in what we're doing.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. That's so cool. Man, I think it's thunderstorming outside. So if I lose power or something, you know why.
Yeah,
Um,
no,
um,
it's not because you're bored with my
no,
stories.
far from it, my friend. Um, so let's talk a little bit about I like to kind of chat with people that play in this style of music with like improvisation being like,
Hmm.
the forerunner of the music, like writing great songs and then couching that in the context of like improvisation, right?
Hmm.
What do you guys and what is your philosophy in terms of taking an improvised section of a song or taking a jam somewhere, so it doesn't just go nowhere. Like there's so many different types of bands that are doing this thing and sometimes it just feels like somebody's just blowing over changes.
Right.
So, sometimes it feels like it's a groove more so or whatever.
Yeah.
Like how do you guys think about it? Because, I guess there has to be some sort of I don't know, like consciousness of like, we don't want to sound like this band or this. It's already been done. Like, how do we push the ball up
Hmm.
the field? So, what's like the Eggy philosophy on that?
It's a good question. I would like to say that the philosophy for us is rooted, as I'm sure it's probably for many other bands, in communication
Hmm.
and conversation, um, playing things with intent, even if you maybe didn't necessarily think about it, just like the place that you're coming from while you're playing it, with the intent to be with the intent to be heard, but also to be conscientious of what's happening around you and trying to create things that can be responded to. And
Mm,
there's always going to be those moments of cliche in the best way where it's like, hey, now it is time for the guitar to rip,
right.
or hey, we're going to go into this progression that every band that's ever improvised has played before.
Right.
And guess what? It's so much fun.
It
So
is.
let's
Mhm.
not get basically just don't get in your own way. Don't get ahead of yourself. Start somewhere simple together that you can grow from, and be breathe, be calm, be let yourself be taken over as much as you're in control. Keep especially from my kind of perspective as a keyboard player, I kind of play as like a bit of like a liaison between Jake in more of the harmony and melody world, and I'm also in the bass realm with Mike. I have the power to be very rhythmic and accented in linking up with Alex on the drums. And so I've always liked to think of myself and keyboard players in general as like the glue in a band like that. And
Mhm.
so I'm always trying to keep myself centered and in some ways like mediating. And then when it's my time to step out, to know, hey, we're gonna have more of a keyboard moment right now. And especially if I'm digging into something, I'm really digging what I'm digging into.
Right.
Um, like I feel like going back to the first band I ever loved with Pink Floyd, like Richard Wright playing the organ. I was like, this is what glues it all together is the keys, and allows kind of everybody to play around. We're incredibly inspired by bands like Fish and the Dead, which are two very different schools of thought from in terms of improv. They play so much differently,
Mhm.
so many ways. Um, I love the the individual journeys that the members of the Dead would take, where it's sometimes doesn't even sound like they're playing together until they are just like totally become this one unit,
Mhm.
almost like where you can have that like that groove that sits somewhere in the middle, and it's like this implication, and however you can play around it is how you can present it. And I
Mhm.
feel like the Dead does that so well, and Fish obviously like kind of introduced the jam peak in so
Yeah.
many ways, or at least it was my introduction, like the jam peak. Um, and we're also like we love like Bruce Hornsby in
Oh,
his
dude.
style of jamming with his band. He's he's got that jazz background, but when you see him live, he really like conducts his band. He'll be like, "You two," and then they are just
Mhm.
it's all eyes on Bruce, but he's really creating these moments to as that's his orchestra. He wants to feature the mandolin now, and he's gonna be like you and me, and they're gonna improvise together, come up with play his songs in different feels. Um, that's definitely something that we've gravitated towards. We found ourselves doing that with feels of songs. If we are jamming, this happens a lot in a song of ours, Bobcat Flow. We'll get into a jam. It's got the more of like that Purdy shuffle kind of feel. So
Yeah.
it can kind of go any which way. You can play it straight. You can play it really swung. And when we get to the last verse of that song, especially of lately, it'll just be different than where it began.
That's
And
awesome.
we'll be like, all right, let's now then Jake goes and sings that last verse over the new feel, and it's like keeps it fresh and interesting. Um, So yeah, I feel like the general, to bring it back, just like that general philosophy of just communication and and just knowing that what you're doing is just it, it's part of the cog of things. It's allowing space, but it also has its place in everything. And then if you feel like it's going nowhere, wrap it up.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
get out of it. It's
Yeah.
like, maybe if it, like any good conversation, sometimes you just got to say goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's definitely no shame in that. In fact, it's one of the best in my one of the best things a band can do. When it's time, it's time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel is there anyone in particular in the band that you feel is more comfortable with being uncomfortable?
More comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Like, musically on stage? Like, willing to willing to go there and explore sonic space or whatever, and, like, maybe some of you guys like, "No, no, buddy. Come on, man. Bring it back." Or are you guys all just kinda open?
We're definitely all open. I think Jake has the most, just like, we need something right now. Yo, I got it. Like might even just be like, make the motion of just like, just me, and like almost like a hard reset. Just be like, all right, it's all eyes on me now.
Right.
I'm gonna come up with it right now,
Back to the
or
Bruce
or
thing.
start it. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
there's there's I'd love to get myself as comfortable with the uncomfortable. I got to see him play with Everyone Orchestra at summer camp, which was really
Mhm.
cool. I love getting to hear my bandmates in other settings because I am reminded about how lucky I am that I get to be in the band with those people.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
sweet. That's awesome, dude. Okay, what's your favorite Hornsby studio record?
I would say Spirit Trail, probably number
Yes.
one, which I saw they're doing a 25th
I
anniversary
know,
of
I know.
Spirit Trail.
Yeah.
Um, Followed maybe by Harbor Lights.
Mm,
Um, and the new stuff he's been doing lately as well has just been
pretty
incredible.
interesting, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, I loved Halcyon Days too. Like,
Yep.
there's some just beautiful songs. I love Lost in the Snow. The sound of that snare crack in the beginning of that song, I'm just like, like immediately, it's like crack, like it's just there's something about the when Sonny Emery was playing with that band.
Sonny
Oh,
Henry, that's my fucking guy. I
oh,
love that dude.
dude, that guy is a
I'm my
powerhouse.
one of my biggest I guess I've seen Sonny Emery, but I've definitely missed Sonny Emery more than I've gotten the chance to see him. Like,
Yeah,
there's always been like some show I had the day that Bruce was coming to town that I had to miss.
yeah. I love
And
that guy, man. He's
yeah,
his songwriting, he sings like a bird. It's just
yeah,
like, oh man, it's
yeah.
just full package.
I'd mentioned that song Bobcat Flow and the shuffle beat it has. In I mean, immediately inspired by, do you know the live record Bride of the Noisemakers?
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, so Funhouse has that beat. And I remember
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I remember we were, we wanted something with it. We were like, we were so addicted to that song, and so we wrote the lyrics to that song, and we wrote the whole song actually without our drummer present because we just already had all heard the, like,
Right.
and we're like, that's, I mean, we were just hearing it all, and Funhouse was like, I remember sitting in Mike's basement when we used to practice there, um, hearing that live version for the first time, and I mean, Sonny just goes to town on that. It's
Oh,
absurd.
man. And
Yeah.
that little soli in the middle, do ba da da ba da 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 da. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. And then it just drops right into that bridge, like it hits you right in the oh, so
Oh,
good. So good.
love it, love it.
Yeah.
We played that song one time, with our buddy Brad Goodall, a fellow Bruce aficionado,
Yeah, man.
and wicked piano player as well. He was doing some shows with us, and we totally geeked out on Bruce together. We were like, we had to play Funhouse. That's
Yeah.
the one. I think we did it justice. I'd like to think.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, Bruce he's got that swagger about him. He's talk about someone that really serves the songs. It's just like
Yeah.
he and as an artist, like continues to develop himself. He is not very much interested in playing his old music very much.
No, no.
Um, and
But and
and that
his voicings too, man, that's what gets me about
yeah,
him. Like, when I learned resting place for the first time, those spread voicings and
yeah,
stuff, I'm like, "Oh, I never really thought about doing something like this," you know what I
right,
mean? Like,
yeah,
instead of just regular inversions and, like, maybe different color underneath, I'm like, "This is so freaking hip," like,
yeah,
what he's doing. Ah,
yeah. Those like open fourths and fifths, like they, and
yeah,
then you're like, wait, that's all that is. It's just like
right,
it's,
yeah.
there's like
But,
it's
like,
actually
then you hear something like "What a Time," and you're like, "Oh, yeah, never mind. Thank no, bye,
yeah,
see ya."
yeah. I know. I've
Yeah.
had to come to grips with the fact that I can spend my whole life trying to sound like Bruce, and maybe like I'd have to drop like everything to but because he's got his path and things that he's done, and um it's always been Bruce Hornsby and
Mhm.
I'm a member of I'm more of a keyboard player. He's most certainly a piano player.
Mm.
And so I've had to like, I gotta learn how to play the organ. I gotta learn how to play this. I gotta do all these things. Bruce, you're gonna kick my ass forever.
Yeah. And
And I'm
that's not
happy for it.
easy. Yeah, dude, I mean, there's a lot to
Yeah.
learn from him for sure. And that's not easy too, like, having to, like, start playing piano and then, like, learn how to play the technique of how to play, like, Hammond
Right.
style. Like, it's a totally different approach.
Yeah.
It's like a mind fuck. It's like, how y okay, I'm
Right.
used to playing like this, and now I gotta hold a pinky down while I'm doing it.
Right. They're all
What do you
different instruments.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Well, that see, you're just solidifying why I like you guys even more now. There's a Bruce connection. There you go.
Man, we could spend however the rest of this time talking
Yeah.
about Bruce. I don't know if you want to, but
Well, I
we
wanna
we
ask you about the new
yeah.
record. Let's talk about that before we have to
Okay, yeah.
go. So, like, you guys it's done, it's in the can. It's ready to be, like, is it mixed and mastered, or is it about
It
to be?
is it's not mixed and mastered yet, so we're amidst processing, like, all of the audio and all the things that we've done with it to get it ready for mixing.
Okay.
We did, 10 songs out in Pasadena with, James Petrali from White Denim. He
Mhm.
produced the record, and it's all music that we had never performed before. So it's all fresh tunes, stuff that we're incredibly excited about. Some stuff that was even written just in the weeks prior to actually going out to the studio,
Wow.
and not necessarily sure exactly the release date. We're trying to figure out how to do it right. Um, we'll probably start getting some of these songs out in the rotation um, before it's released. We definitely would love to do that. Starting to work on those, so can be expected. I don't know if I shouldn't. I'll let everybody know. It's
Yeah.
coming. It's coming. You're gonna hear some new stuff.
And are you guys keeping it
Exciting.
close to the chest? Like, are you not gonna play certain songs? You're gonna save those for ears, or
I don't know if we can get them sounding like as good as we want them, then bust them out. I think that like we've always written songs to play live,
Mhm.
and this was kind of the opposite. We wrote songs from a studio mindset. A lot
Mm.
of it was recorded in layers. There wasn't a lot of like live performance together. Um,
Mm.
it was very much like a layered type thing. We made demos, and a lot of times the demos would become the foundations for some of these recordings. But it's definitely something that we're we're not going to rush anything out, but we're very excited to play on.
That's cool,
Um,
man.
like as it stands right now, there's some of this. To be frank, we don't know how to play some of these songs yet. Figuring out how to translate what we did in the studio live. And I think once those songs reach that point, I can't imagine us holding on to them for too long. Like,
That's kind of exciting though, Donnie. Like, I think that, there's some like you said, there's some freshness and some like sincere, genuine like authenticity in that. And like, oh shit, is Eggy turning into Radiohead? Like, is that what you're trying to explain to me right now? Like,
Um,
is it that ambitious?
no, no. I
Okay.
mean, you're gonna when you hear the record, you're gonna say that sounds like Eggy, but in a way that we've never really been able to present ourselves yet.
Okay.
We've only really had the live medium to present ourselves, and um, we've had multiple studio attempts over the past few years, and it really clicked with this one, where we lived in the studio for 3 weeks. I mean, we were Alex was sleeping on the couch in the studio.
Man,
It's like it was like at this one bedroom Airbnb. Jake and I are sharing a bed. Mike's on the couch in the living room, like living and breathing this album, and are really feel like it's the best representation of where we are right now in terms of what we're inspired by. Um, Features Alex's vocals quite a bit,
nice.
um, and are very excited to play it. It sounds like Eggy, just in a kind of in a way that, yeah, like I said, we've never really been able to quite capture yet. And they're gonna translate live just I think so amazingly. I think they're gonna be
Cool.
very powerful. It runs a good gamut of sounds and styles, but um, you know, we're not would love to say we were going to become Radiohead because those guys are absolutely wild, but
Yeah.
you know, but no, it's just given the added uh kind of, I don't want to say care, but extra kind of thoughtfulness to every single part in the arrangement and things that we tried to go as deep as we could and just throw the kitchen sink at it and feel really excited about it. Um, it's exciting for me, like we're talking about keyboards and sounds and stuff, and like I was blessed with an amazing arsenal of keyboards at this studio, Yamaha DX7, um, like getting to play on like old organs like Farfisa and a
Cool.
Vox Jaguar, and like now I'm looking at my rig being like, time to put this to the test, like coming up with different sounds, that trying to emulate some guitar parts and things that, if there were two guitar parts, like, well, I got two hands, so
Yeah.
I'm maybe I take one. And it's really exciting. I feel like it's been really inspiring for us in the band to be bringing new music into the fold, and also in this way where we have this kind of reference of what we wanted to sound like. And our last record we put out in 2019, it was kind of, hey, this is kind of what we do live, let's just do it.
Yeah.
And the songs I think are incredible. This is like takes it the step deeper of like, think that they're incredible songs, and we tried to arrange them in the studio in a way that kind of reflects like what we're inspired by, like
Mhm.
currently. And um it's right on par. If you like good songs, you're gonna like the record.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's really exciting. Congrats, buddy. I mean,
thank
it's
you.
that's I know how that feels when you're putting a new baby out into the world and you're just like,
Yeah,
"We think it's great." You
yeah,
know, like and that's all it should matter. It's like,
right,
you should be able to reinvent yourself every record like Charlie Hunter and like people still be like, "Sweet. It's awesome. These are our guys." You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, and I think that there's probably a lot of like you guys are probably really anticipating like being able to like play it live and
totally.
because that's what you love doing is actually
Hmm.
playing in front of people, right? So like
Yeah,
getting those babies out into the world and letting people experience them and experience your joy
yeah.
playing them too, man.
Yeah,
That's a
because
big
we've
deal.
we've in the past, there have been times where we felt like we rushed this one a little bit, didn't we? Like
It
like we
happens,
we, we
dude.
could have sat with this song like another couple of times in the practice room before we brought it out live. But we're really feeling it, and it also sometimes the stage is like informs like, oh, we were playing it and it felt like it needed this in this moment, and it's always
Mhm.
subject to um, live arrangements are going to be naturally different than studio arrangements because you have the audience there. You have maybe there's only four of us on stage. If we're trying to create something that's maybe sounds bigger than the four of us, like, well, how do we create that feeling? Um, certain things can be there's whatever artistic freedom you need to take to make it translate properly over that medium. And
Mhm.
the songs are meant to be delivered and felt together. And I think that's what's so amazing about when I get to go see an artist that I really love playing their songs. It's like it feels like we're celebrating just like how much we all love this song, getting
Right.
to hear it live together in a space. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, you would just sit in a theater and crank the speakers up playing the record. It's like, no,
Yeah.
I want to hear it come from the person that felt it. It's like the uh,
Mhm.
ultimate form of communication and transmission
And
of energy.
we kinda wanna hear the clams and hear the, like, laughter and hear the, like,
Yeah, as
things
few
that
clams as
don't work.
possible.
Well, yes, of course.
Although we did just go out today for Frank Pepe's Pizza, where they have the best white clam. So lots of clams today.
Well, you know what, man? Like, it's cool because, like, one of my favorite bands is Dawes,
Yeah, love
and
Dawes.
oh god, yeah, and, seeing them live, I mean, they're basically becoming more and more like a jam band, like, they're stretching tunes and, like, really exploring sonic space live and everything, but, like, again, it's gotta be couched in a good tune, man. You gotta, "Don't bore us, get to the chorus" kinda thing first, and then, slay
Yeah,
with whatever you're gonna do improvisationally. I mean, it that's the kind of thing that separates, I think, the different tiers of the bands in the scene is, like, how good are the songs? And can you tell that the people playing them are having a good time playing them, And is that gonna translate into amazing, representation of improvisational music? Um, but, I have to say this again, I mean, I had a blast seeing you guys open up for Mo, and, are you guys coming through Baltimore or near here at some point on this tour?
yeah, we're gonna be playing with Umphreys McGee. I wanna
Okay.
say it is I can pull this up real fast because 'cause it'd be good information.
You know what?
Um,
I have your tour pulled up in front of
you
me, I
do.
think.
We're at,
Yeah.
like, Miku Pavilion, I wanna say it is. That's a place,
Alright.
right?
It looks like the
We're playing
closest.
on
Oh, you are?
August
You're playing at Pier
18th.
6. Yeah.
Pier 6.
That's a fun venue, man.
Pier 6 Pavilion.
Yeah, that's a fun outdoor venue, and I went to see Tedeschi Trucks there. It was the Wheels of Soul tour. Dude, listen to this lineup, okay? It was so Doyle Bramhall opened the show.
Yep.
Or no, maybe no, it was Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings
Ooh.
opened the show, and then Doyle Bramhall came and destroyed the stage, and then Tedeschi Trucks Band. Um, Speaking of another piano player, and then we'll do our lightning round, get
Yeah.
down, but Gabe Dixon from Tedeschi Trucks.
Amazing. Yeah.
Woo! That boy,
I got to meet him last summer, at the Westville Bowl, and he's something
sweetheart
else.
and a killer. He
Yeah.
actually played my band. We went down to Nashville in 21, and I recorded a single at the Wood Brothers studio.
Oh, nice.
Because I know Jono and in fact, there's video on my YouTube channel of playing one of my originals, and Jono played B3 on
Oh,
it.
nice.
Um,
I'll be seeing the Wood Brothers next week.
oh, dude, they're one
I'm
of my
coming to New
favorites too.
Haven.
Yeah, but Gabe played B3 on my single that I put out too. So
Oh,
I did
dude.
2 songs down there, and he is so soulful and
Yeah.
just every note, I'm just like, "Man." Like,
I know, and
I
I'm talking to
oh,
him after the show, and, like, he's so down to earth. I'm like, "But you just blasted me out of this earth." Like,
yeah. He's so good, so humble, and, like and his rig sounded amazing. I just saw them this past summer, like, at Wolf Trap in Northern
yep.
Virginia,
Oh, I wanna go
and
there. I hear it's so cool
oh,
there.
it's an amazing venue, dude. We just saw the Avett Brothers there. My wife and my daughter and I went to see them a couple weeks ago, and then we're gonna see Dawes. Dawes is playing there at the end of August too.
Nice.
So, yeah, man. What's your favorite Dawes record?
My favorite Dawes record, All Your Favorite Bands.
Okay,
I
cool.
really like the new record a lot too, right? All Your Favorite Bands, that's the one I'm thinking of. I'm
Yeah, that's like their flagship. I think a lot of people like if you're gonna enter in,
Yeah. Oh, did I pick the popular one? Oh, no.
No,
Well,
no, it's a
I'm
great
supposed
record, dude.
to
No, it's a great record.
I'm supposed to pick something deep, aren't I? The deep cuts?
No,
No, I
no.
love all your favorite bands. Um, it's a great album. The songs have totally just like they kind of feel like, especially when I found that album, it like felt like the stuff I wanted to kind of write about, and so
Mm,
I connected with it a lot.
yeah.
That song, to be completely honest, is
Oh, yeah.
it rips me apart.
Me too, man. Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, "We're All Gonna Die" is my favorite record because it's the first one I was exposed to, and when I heard, "One of Us," that opening,
Oh yeah.
that crescendo, I'm like, "Ooh!"
And Lee,
Alright.
I think on that record, Lee Pardini does some like really cool stuff with the organ, like just the sounds. Like
Yeah, he's a
one with
monster too.
there's a picture of the man where he's using like some it's like a phaser through the organ or some
Yeah,
that's
and they played "Roll with the Punches" as a clavinet through the Leslie.
is that what's going on? I thought it was the
Yeah.
organ.
It's
Okay,
not an
okay.
organ. I
All
had Lee
right.
on here and we were talking about it. That sound he's playing, like, what he's playing is the clavinet through the Leslie, and then I think he said Blake Mills was like, "Let's put this guitar pedal," like, he couldn't remember what guitar pedal is. It
Yeah.
had to be an o overdrive pedal. Um, I don't know what it was, but yeah, Lee's a s man,
Yeah.
he's a demon, man.
Yeah.
He's so good. Alright,
Cool.
Donnie, you
I'm
ready
glad
for
to
the
get the
lightning
lowdown
round?
on that. Yes, let's do it.
Let's do this thing. All right, I'm gonna put a metronome on at 112 cruising
Okay.
altitude for some suspense. I got 10 questions for you.
All right.
You can explain your answers if you want. You don't have to. You can
All
just
right.
cruise through if you want. All right, first one. It's always the same.
Yep.
Lennon or McCartney?
McCartney.
Worley or Rhodes?
Worley.
Scone or muffin?
Scone.
Summer or winter Olympics?
Ooh. Hmm. Winter Olympics.
Okay.
I think because I end up watching them more somehow.
Right. Yeah. Cozy
I don't know.
indoors.
Yeah.
Um, if you could be so put yourself in these shoes. If you could be
Okay.
in a comedy with all of your worst enemies
Uh-huh.
or a horror movie with your closest friends, what would you do?
Oh, a horror movie with my closest friends. No doubt. No doubt.
All right. New York or New Haven pizza?
New Haven pizza. Just had it today. Stunning.
So timing. Water slide or diving board?
Water slide.
Okay. All
I'm
right. Which
I'm
one of
I'm way
these?
better at going down the slide than I am at diving.
Uh,
If that one for some reason needed explanation.
which one
And
of
and
these
to I'm
superhero?
sorry to cut you off. To go back,
Okay.
it's the crust of New Haven pizza. The
Yeah.
burnt crust. It's I will die on that hill. Anyway,
Is it all
sorry.
like I've never had like I know because I follow Dave Portnoy and his
Right.
one bite pizza reviews and he
Yeah.
like raves about New Haven pizza, but like is it wood fired pizza or is it just they just cook it differently in the oven?
Well, it's wood-fired, definitely. Getting that, like, if your fingers are got a little char on the end of them, like you got classic New Haven pizza. But
Okay.
shout out to Zapardi's Pizza in West Haven. They don't do the, um, the wood fire. Amazing pie. I think it's like people like to say it's in the water, like about the whole tri-state, whether
Mhm.
it's New York or New Haven or I guess New Jersey too has I imagine they got good pie. I don't know what it is about the water. I think it has
Right.
what but it's the thin crust mainly, just like a really thin crust that gets it going.
It's got a good crisp, right? Like
Good
everybody
crisp. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's
But
awesome.
had to shout out Zupardi's because I ate a lot of it the other day. We eat a lot of pizza out here in New Haven.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. All right. Which one of these billionaire superheroes would you rather be? Batman or Iron Man? Bruce
Ooh,
Wayne or Tony Stark?
Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like he's got a his story is more meaningful to me.
sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore?
just want to start by saying I love everything Adam Sandler's ever done. He's an inspiration not just to me, but to the entire band. Um, Whenever we feel sad, we watch Adam Sandler movies to make us feel better. Um, but so Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison. Oh my God. I have to pick one, right?
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison. I think that my gut was leaning towards Billy Madison.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll accept that answer.
Yeah. I think I've just seen it more.
Yeah. Me
Yeah.
too. I think so out of the two. All right. Here's the last one. Sometimes this is the hardest. Sometimes it's the easiest for people.
Okay.
If you could take one record and erase it from your memory so you could go back and experience it again for the first time, what record would that be?
Dark Side of the Moon.
Okay.
To
You know
be
what?
to be 15 again, laying down on the floor and listening to it.
I hear you, brother.
You
I hear
know?
you. You are in good company. Guess who else said that? Who was on my
Who said
show?
that?
Gabe Dixon.
Boom.
Believe it
I
or
mean,
not, I was surprised because he's a huge Elton fan. I thought he was going to say like Tumbleweed Connection or something like that, and he was like, "No, Dark Side." I'm like, "All right,
because it's
cool."
that for probably so many people has so many like just like formative listening experiences for people.
Yeah,
They're just it's
totally.
like roll up a joint, put on Dark Side. It's like when I don't know if I could do that, do that again. That or can I have an or like
Sure.
or an and or?
Yeah.
This is another just like listen to it while laying on a floor, but like um, OK Computer,
Mm-hmm.
Kid A, just like the pretty much anything that I would have gotten into when I first started smoking weed when I was like 16.
Nice, man.
Like get to have that experience one more time of like getting just totally wowed by those records that I loved.
Oh, amen. Dude, Donnie, thanks so much, man. So big shout out to BV who's been moderating the chat and popping all the Eggy stuff in here. Check out the website there. They got the Instagram kicking. Yes, people still do use Facebook, so go there. YouTube as well. All the good stuff. The
We're on all the
Twitters,
things.
all the
All the
things.
things.
But Donnie, dude, this was such a fun time, man. Thank you so much for doing this. I
Thanks
I
for
really
having
hope,
me.
yeah, man, of course.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I don't am I on vacation that week you guys are here? I hope not, because maybe
I
I will
hope
come out and
not,
see. Hope I can
because
see you
we
guys.
gotta hang out and talk more Bruce and stuff. I mean,
Oh heck yeah, dude. Yeah. I
yeah.
get back from the beach that day. I might be able to come that night. We'll see. I'll check it out.
Hit
I'll
me
ask
up.
my wife.
Hit me up. Yeah.
So
Let's do it.
um anything else you want to like put like tell the people about what's going on with Eggy? Or did we cover everything?
Sure. Well, we're going out on the road this weekend. We'll be in Morristown, New Jersey tomorrow, and Buffalo Ironworks on Thursday. Both of the band Abby Bryan and the Echoes supporting us. We'll be in Burlington, Vermont this Friday, and Portland, Maine on Saturday. We've got quite a bit of a busy summer ahead of us. I'm going to pull it up here so that I don't miss anything good. Um, and but we're gonna be at like the High Sierra Music Festival for anyone that's out west. Coming up in a couple of weeks. Be out at where we're gonna be in Montana. I'm excited to go back to Montana.
I bet.
Got quite a bit of a tour ahead of us. We're gonna be down in the Mid Atlantic a bit. Like we said, Baltimore, but also gonna be in the Carolinas and got some more shows in the Northeast. We're just got more things, more dates that I can really keep up with. But we're out there. We hope to see you out there. It's been so much fun getting to play our music for people across the country, which we've gotten to see a whole lot of now in the past year. So
Yeah, man.
to our fans that are watching this, thank you so much for coming out to support us and share the music with us. It means the absolute world to us.
Cool. Donnie, well, I'm so happy you guys are getting to do it and very well deserved. And I hope you guys have a great tour. Hang out for 1 second. Everybody else, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and we'll see you
And
next time.
subscribe to this channel. I said it. I can say it.
He can say it. He can say
Smash, annihilate that subscribe.
it. Thanks, buddy. All right, folks. We'll see you.